Hi guys, my name is Lyra. I make deep dives on plot, story, writing, and character. Today I am in Bali on Mrs. Kayla's writing retreat, and I'm here with my roommate, Annie North, who I have been a super fangirl of for a long time, and I'm so excited to get to film a collab with her.
I'm so excited that I finally got to meet you.
I know.
Yeah, we like each other.
We like each other a lot. We're like kind of soul sisters,
yeah,
in a way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Today we are going to talk about unpredictable plot twists because we got to read some of each other's books, and
then we couldn't hold back our plot twists, and then we just shared our entire books with each other.
Yes. And so we both have really unpredictable plot twists in YA, which I think I haven't seen before. It's weird saying that about your own book, like I haven't seen my book before, but I can certainly say I haven't seen her book before.
And yours is just amazing. Like, I was sitting on the ground with my mouth open like this entire time, and I'm not even joking. I had never had this experience where I wasn't aware that my mouth was like actually open. It is so good, you guys.
Thank you. Yeah. Hers too. Like, it's really like just, I mean, it's just not done, and it's just like, I think very amazing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So we're talking about them, and we want to talk about, because we both have them, how do you write them? Because, you know, I talk about writing a lot, and I also talk about storybooks and stuff. So we wanted to just kind of interview each other, and we're going to ask the same questions. So the first question is, how did you come up with it, Annie?
So I actually wrote my story. The first time that I did my outline, I wrote it in a very, typical way. That's like, in a very tropey way. It's something that is just done a million times. And then I realized that I don't like that. When I thought about the tropes that I really don't like, I thought of that one. And then I was like, I really don't want to give up on this thing that I'm doing, so I need to do it in a different way. And then I just came up with that.
Yeah.
Because it puts a spin on a certain trope, and I like that, and I was a bit scared to do it because it hasn't really been done before, and it's like kind of scary to do something like that, but I just love it so much, and I'm glad that my story is the way it is right now because I prefer it so much over the tropey thing that I did before that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. That's amazing.
So how did you come up with your plot twist?
Oh God, I don't even know. So originally, like when I started a lot of my books with a character, and I started with this one character, and I'm going to try to not spoil anything because we're going to talk about these things without spoiling our books. So I had this character, and she existed long before like there was even a book. And then I saw this moment between her and this other character, and it was just like, oh, what is this? And it was like maybe one of the third scenes that I had like constructed in my head that I thought might eventually make it into the book. And it was just this scene that like I was like, whoa, what is this? And then I wrote 270,000 words,
which is insane.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
I have an overwriting problem, and basically I wrote the first draft of the novel, and I finished it, and I hated the book, and I was like, something is wrong, this is awful, like what do I do? And then I was on a writing conference, I was walking to Starbucks, and I just had this epiphany. I was like, oh, this is why I don't like this book, because it's not properly structured, because I have an alternative plot structure, but I was writing it in a normal plot structure. And so then I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna do it, even though people say you shouldn't do it.
It's amazing. Like, I honestly, it has just never been done before, and I just cannot believe that this is actually happening in a book. Like, it's so good, you guys. And also something that I wanted to mention is that even though you are an overwriter, it doesn't show in her book. In the chapters that I read, it didn't show at all. Because sometimes you read a book and the pace is just so slow because the person is clearly an overwriter.
Yeah.
But it doesn't show in your book. It's so well paced. I just love it very much.
Well, I think I have an overwriting problem, but then I also have like I always have to have tension. So I'm like, let's just do stuff. But thank you.
Yeah.
All right, so the second question, which kind of goes into what I was just talking about, like a lot of people tell me and have told me that it's not going to work, you can't make it work, and that you shouldn't do it. So how do you, and I know that's true of you too, and of your plot twist too. So how do you continue writing, or what do you do with that negativity? So what do you do when people say it won't work?
Honestly, the first time someone told me, I told my mom about my plot twist, and I told a writer friend, and it was like the only writing friend I have that's an English native speaker and who has an idea of like traditional publishing and self-publishing. And I talked to her, and she hated it. She really hated it.
And you're doing something right.
She's a fan of the particular trope that I was writing. I, however, I really didn't want to do it, and then we had this discussion, and she was just like, it's not gonna work in traditional publishing. And that was when I was like really confused and also a bit hurt, because I was so proud of it, and I thought, well, she might have a point. This might not work in traditional publishing. But then I don't think it would have worked a couple of years ago, but I'm sure, I'm just convinced that this works now, and that this is actually a good thing, and that my book will benefit from it.
And I think I can reiterate with that, like, it will work. Like, I know what the plot twist is, and I know I know books, I read a lot. You guys haven't noticed from my channel, and I definitely think it will work, and whoever says that to you is just not in the market. Like, they just don't know what's happening right now, and there's a renaissance in a lot of ways with many different things that I'm not going to go into because I don't want to spoil, but I think it will work.
Thank you. But it's just like, I guess it comes down to you being so in love with that idea, and you have to know that you want to make it work. Because if I was doing it wrong, then it wouldn't work, and I just know that I will have to work on it to make sure that it will work and that it makes sense, and that, you know, people will like my characters for that plot twist. And I'm just 100% certain that I can pull that off. So you just need a bit of like trust and faith in your own writing and in yourself.
And your storytelling. Yeah, totally.
So how, like, what do you say when people tell you this is not gonna work? Because I can totally like see that happening. It's
or like, have happened.
It has happened. I was there when it happened. So
and they didn't know really where the story was going at the end, and I think also people who were reading it didn't read my genre, and so I think that's important. Because if you don't know about multiple storylines, then maybe you wouldn't know that it would work. But I mean, I kind of just go like, in my mind, I'm like, oh, blank blank. You know, and that, because like that's who I am, like I don't care. I'm like, obviously not in like a real way, but like it's just sort of like, I am not going to, like, I have such a clear vision in my mind, and the thing is, like, it could not work, like it could be a total failure, but we haven't seen a lot of things like this, it's particularly in YA, and just because we haven't seen it before doesn't mean it's not going to work. And so I think that's a really big like differentiator. Like, just because it hasn't been done, like both of our things haven't been done, doesn't mean it's not going to work. And you want to be fresh and new, and you want your work to be exciting. And the other thing is, like, yeah, I get it, like I have 3 different storylines that take place in 3 different time periods that when you first read it, like maybe you might be like, what is going on? But you know, they all come together at the climax, and I just think it's a really beautiful climax. And and so it's just like, I just have to have faith that like, this is the story I want to tell, this is the way I want to tell it. And the first draft I wrote, I wasn't telling it that way, and I hated it. And then when I started rewriting it the way I wanted to, I was like, oh my god, this is the book I'm writing. And you just have to have faith in that.
And another thing that I wanted to add, because I know that people get confused by those 3 different storylines in 3 different time periods. I think that it's just such a great thing, because a lot of the books that I've read in the past couple of years, I've just never been really surprised, because a lot of books are predictable, and I'm not saying those are bad books, because I still enjoyed reading them, but I already knew what was going to happen, and it was just so nice to be so confused in a good way, because that hadn't happened to me in a long time.
Yeah, like I feel like it's confused about knowing where the story's going, not confused about what's happening, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and that's what I want. I want a page turner. I want people to be like, where is this going?
Exactly.
And then, like, to have it, and all roads lead to where it leads. I think it's satisfying, at least in my head, but we'll see if I can pull it off.
You can.
Yeah, I think I can. Okay, so the last question I want to ask is, when you have a plot twist like this, you have to properly foreshadow it. So how do you do that?
The way I like to do it is, I like to give hints, obviously, that's foreshadowing, but I want them to have two meanings, and I want the reader to believe it's the wrong meaning. So I give them, you gave that a word?
Yeah, it's called red herring.
Yeah,
I put a red herring. It's more of like a mystery term, like when like it's a thriller and someone's killed someone and you like throw them off the scent with like a different person you think is guilty. Yeah, it's a red herring.
Yeah, I have never heard of that word before, but that's what I like to do. I just like to make the reader feel like, this is so predictable, like, come on, what is she doing? I already know what's going to happen. But then there is a second way you can like understand that hint, and that's what I want to be the truth, and then I want them to believe that they know exactly what's going on.
And it's definitely not what it is. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because in our feedback session, we had feedback sessions here, people told me exactly the thing that I wanted them to believe.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So that worked out well.
Yeah, I would not have seen it coming, which I see most things coming.
Yeah.
So
it's the same with yours. Yeah. I would have never seen that coming.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, what am I doing?
And the thing is, I read her chapters back after she told me, and I'm just like, of course, like this is it, and that's what you want in a book.
Yeah. So similarly, to answer the same question, I feel because my plot twist is such a jarring one and a big one, I have to be foreshadowing it every single chapter, and I am. I think I'm doing a pretty good job.
You are.
And
I read them back this morning.
Yeah, and that's great. And so there's just like there's certain physicalities I put in to make sure that it leads to where I want to lead. There's certain phrasing I put in that leads to where I want to lead, and then there's just certain things I do with techniques of writing that leads to where it needs to go. And to what Annie said, the best way to foreshadow is to foreshadow so that people can't catch it on the first go, so that they're not catching it because you don't want them to catch it, but the second time they read it, it should be like, oh my god, how did I not catch this? And if you're doing it right, it's like this magic, like it's sort of like a magician, because it really is a magician, because you want to present something, misdirect, and then keep going. And so a lot of that happens by like having a red herring where it's like, oh, it's pointing this direction, and then also like having moments where you give information but then something more exciting happening at the same time. That's so that you're focusing on something else instead of what you should be focusing on. Yeah,
that's a really good thing you just mentioned. That's one of my favorite ways to foreshadow, to just drop something and then make the reader forget about it and then remember it later when you write a plot twist.
Yeah, and because you want the reader to get to the plot twist and say, oh hot damn, my mind is broken, my mind has exploded, but feel like it actually really makes sense.
How did I miss that?
Yeah, because if it's the other way, like, oh hot damn, this makes absolutely no sense, then you haven't done enough foreshadowing.
Like, I had that problem with the TV show Pretty Little Liars. I was just so confused. It made no sense to me. Yeah. So I hated that.
Yeah. And so that's what you're doing when you're foreshadowing. You're working with, how can I have them have that oh hot damn moment, but have it in a way that they don't feel ripped off. Yeah. Or they don't feel cheated. Yeah. So that's how you do it. Yeah. You just foreshadow. You give them alternative answers, red herrings, and you misdirect. Yeah. Yeah.
And you do that very well.
Thank you. Yeah. So do you. So do you. I mean, like I said, I thought it was going in the totally wrong direction. So, all right, guys. So this has been super fun, and I'm so excited. And I'm so excited I got to meet Annie, and I'm so excited we got to talk about this because honestly, guys, I really do feel like both of these books haven't been seen in YA before. And when I was reading Annie's book, I was like, oh my god, this could be on the shelves. Like, this is freaking amazing.
Thank you so much. But I felt the same about yours.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, they're exciting. All right.
I bet if you ever read our books, you're going to be like, what were they talking about? I'm going to analyze every single thing.
Look back.
Yeah.
So guys, go check out Annie's channel because she is so amazing. She started AuthorTube before I did.
And then I disappeared, and we're going to talk about why in the video on my channel, so you should check that out.
Go check that out now because her channel is amazing, and
oh, thank you.
It's just like, I've missed her. Why hasn't she been
Thank you
here?
for letting me be in a video on your channel.
Oh, come on. I'm more excited I get to be in a video on her channel, so you should go check that out now. Okay guys, if you liked this video, please like and subscribe below, and let me know your favorite color of mermaid tail in the comments below, and have a happy mermaid day and just keep swimming. Bye. Bye.